Hello everyone and welcome to your NARSA weekly update for the week commencing Monday the Cinco de Mayo 2025. Wee bit of Scottish, wee bit of English, wee bit of Spanish in your introduction for this week. It's Gary here again and I hope you had a great week. And we did have one big game this last week for us, which I'll get to in just a wee second. But today is actually one of the better days, I should say, one of the more poignant days in terms of the convention that is coming up here in just about 5 weeks' time. And I'll get to that when I get to the convention update in a wee bit here. But the great news is, in terms of this drab, dire, disappointing season, we are one game closer to the end. And we once again proved that the bigger teams isn't our issue, or the biggest, the biggest team in terms of our rivals anyway, isn't the issue after we got that draw there. The problem that I have, obviously the problem the club has, is against all the other teams, which I don't need to tell you about. I'm sure you already know about that. But yesterday was a wee bit disappointing in terms of the stupidity of some clown throwing a Buckfast bottle onto the pitch. I just don't understand. I don't understand the mentality of someone doing that. And then I don't understand the people around about him, assuming it's a him, thinking that it's a great idea, and nobody really taking accountability or ownership or even leadership to say, listen, what you're doing, like, what, do you think that makes you a better Rangers fan? Does you think that makes you hate the opposition even more? Do you think that makes you a hard man? Like, I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't even understand drinking Buckfast in the first place, to be perfectly honest with you. I had one very bad experience with that, never ever to be repeated. But that's very, very disappointing. And then there was a bit of a reaction, of course, to the tifo that got put up there. I couldn't really make it out so much on Rangers TV, and when they had it up, they then put the team selection right on the middle of the screen. So Tom Miller is happily chatting away about what the team selections are going to be, and we're trying to see. So maybe that's a wee bit of a lesson learned for Rangers TV. Going to show us what's actually happening to help us absorb a wee bit more of the atmosphere remote from the stadium. That would be kind of handy, but there's only so much time before the game, I appreciate. But, in terms of when I seen it afterwards, I didn't quite understand the context behind it. I had to get had to have it explained to me, quite honestly, and through the various articles that I read afterwards. And it was a photograph of Graham Souness, I believe, from, was it the 1986 World Cup, something like that, where he had this shotgun, and then with it being the 4th of May, or May the 4th, Star Wars Day, and they put something resembling a Star Wars reference on that. And I think the challenge is when they finished it off with scum, their rebel scum, we kind of know what they meant, even if it was inferring or suggested that it was a Star Wars reference or something like that. I don't have any issue with any of that, especially when you see some of the other stuff that goes on, not to mention, at least in the East End, but not just in the East End of Glasgow, different places in Scotland, and even when we go abroad as well. And just lo and behold, it just so happens to be that it's going to get concentrated on from a Rangers perspective. I think that's just idiocy. They're just trying to keep us down, just trying to keep us distracted by all the other things that are going on in and around the club, rather than what we're trying to do on the pitch. And of course, we have been completely under par on the pitch for the most part of this season. So it's just pettiness, it's ingrained rivalry gone too far. I think there is a wee bit of a lesson here. I wonder what the communications were with the club. I know the club came out and condemned it on the website and basically said there's a bit of trust between both parties. But surely someone in the club somewhere would say, show me the design. You can't have just anything up there, and then for them to put it on. So maybe that did happen, and maybe someone in the club said, I think that looks great, and then it's obviously not great as per the club's condemnation of it, or not. I don't know, a bit off on that. But again, distracting. Just because they never won the game? I don't know. Who knows what that looks like, but we'll see what that looks like going forward. Anyway, let me actually talk about the game just for a wee bit here. And yesterday was, of course, the final Old Firm game with a 1-1 draw at home to that mob. And kind of like the St Mirren game, or like the games of late. Actually, I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time on the recap because It's really kind of inconsequential, isn't it, in terms of what happens this season? I thought we had a decent start. I thought Liam Balogun should have scored in the first minute, or maybe just crept into the second minute. He had all the time in the world and grazed the top of the bar. We then had Nico Raskin scoring. It's dead funny when he scores with a header against them, isn't it? He's such a wee guy, and he scored. It was offside. No complaints about that. We actually got caught a couple of times, maybe even a few times with that during the game, which is a wee bit annoying. You need to be able to learn your lessons in game and modify your approach to that. And then right on half time, Cyril Dessers scored an absolutely brilliant goal, and it came just after they had a breakaway and Kelly had to make a last ditch save, and I think the commentary said it was like 39 seconds or 37 seconds, something like that, and then we just go up the park and a lovely flowing move which culminates in Dessers picking up the ball, taking a defender out of play, and then just popping it by, slotting it past the goalie as well. Fabulous. And I thought we deserved the lead at half time. I thought we were really on top in half time, and in the second half just had a wee bit of a flat feel to it, didn't it? Then their guy gets the equaliser, and VAR went over that with a fine tooth comb, didn't they? Just to make sure they could do absolutely everything they could do to give them the goal. I thought Maeda was impeding Kelly. I know other people have thought that it was, not so much, not really. But Suter should have cleared that. Suter made an absolute hash of the clearance. One of the guys in the club, who was it? I can't remember. Maybe it was Alex. I'm not sure. Was saying it was Tav's fault. He got stripped a wee bit, but Suter should have just put that one over the main stand. Never mind just hitting it off there. Hitting it off. Was it their player? I think it was, and then it fell to their other player. I can't remember now exactly, but that was poor defending as per usual. And then we had Hadji fouled for what I thought could have been a penalty. Barry Ferguson said the same after the game, and it wasn't given because, hey, it was on Yanis Hadji, but from Callum McGregor, he who cannot be booked, of course. And then we get Bailey Rice, who comes on for his first foul. And comes on for his first foul, comes on and gets booked for his first foul. And, it was a foul. Was it a booking? Maybe, but come on. After what McGregor was doing all game, for that to be the first yellow card it's just mental. I believe Barry Ferguson might have got a yellow card as well. I'm not sure. And then, in what possibly might be Captain James Tavernie's last Old Firm game, he nearly combined to absolutely ruin the day for us at the end, didn't he? And it was just, I don't even get it. Like, what? Obviously there's a confusion because Iggaman's going to take the throw in, and then Tav kind of runs up, and then the two of them kind of stop. Then the throw in gets taken. Tav's completely out of position. Maeda's running up on his own. It's absolutely stupidity beyond the belief it was. And just instead of just grabbing it and throwing it into their area and giving us an attacking option, there's just nothing. And then he's chasing. He can't catch Maeda. He's been proven over the years. And then Kelly saved us right at the end as well. So that was absolutely brilliant, because that would have been, nobody was thrilled at the end of the game, but to lose it, I think would have been very, very unjust. And it was also in those circumstances, it would have been almost kind of fitting with some of the garbage junk goals that we lose against that mob. But thankfully, Liam Kelly did that, what he did, for the second time in the game. Not very good English, I know, but I'm doing my best here, folks. Give me a break. So in terms of the positives, I thought the first half was really good. I thought we were really on top, really looked forward to the second half. It didn't really work out the way we were hoping. I thought Nico Raskin, who was the man of the match, Diomande was excellent. Actually, up until the very end, I thought Tav had a brilliant game as well. And I think another positive is Barry's record against them. He should be proud of that, and it just shows you what you can get out of the team if you communicate it to them in a certain way for certain games. And he just couldn't do it often enough in other games, of course, to give himself a massive shout for the role. But his record is something he should be very, very proud of, and we put in really good performances, and it was good to just look forward to the Old Firm games again, because you're knowing that you're going to be in a game, and maybe the result doesn't go your way, but you're going to be giving it your all, and the team proved that they could do that. The negatives, the goal, as I mentioned, was pretty poor. The treatment of Callum McGregor, which I'll get to on the referee watch here, it's just deplorable. It's disgusting. It's filthy and disgusting. And Tav's little brain fart at the end there was something that I wouldn't like to see repeated at any point in the near future. So I think that would be it. In terms of stats, it said it was 40% possession for us, 7 shots on goal with 4 on target. We scored 1 of them, so that's 25%. Versus they had 4 shots on goal with 3 on target, so they scored 1 of them. So I guess that's a third. Whatever. And then on to the referee watch. Nick Walsh is an idiot. You know, I don't know the guy at all, but in terms of the arrogant way that he goes around the field and such, and he's obviously following instructions, to a T when it comes to the captain of that mob, because Callum McGregor is just unbookable. And by the way, I know for a fact this is not the first time I've said that this season, and probably prior to this season as well. I think it's just beyond ridiculous. Honestly, I do. I think it's a real stain on the game when we're not being refereed to the same standards. And you know, the only kind of, the only person who seems to be standing up for themselves in our team, the only kind of terrier that we have is Nico Raskin, and he seems to give as good as he gets in terms of tackling, in terms of play, in terms of standing up to the referee and having a word and kind of, you know, basically challenging the referee to say, this is not right, what are you doing? But to no avail, because he still never got booked. We need as a team to be better at what folks kind of commonly refer to as the dark arts of referee influencing, because they've got it down and they get away with it and they benefit from that over the course of a season big time. VAR did its job, I think, overall, I suppose. So overall, I'm going to give Nick Walsh a 5 out of 10, because he has to be better than that and control and manage the game to the standard it's supposed to be controlled and managed. I don't dislike Nick Walsh as in general, but I just don't like his attitude. I don't like the way that he's going about things this last wee while, so that's what he's getting that for. Next game is this Sunday, the 11th of May at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's a noon kickoff. It's kind of odd to have a noon kickoff at Ibrox in a non-Old Firm game, isn't it? It's just, I mean, obviously the Sky have to keep their games and they have to select what they have to select, or they select what they want to select as they're moving forward. But it seems odd to have Aberdeen at home and still have it as a very, very early kickoff time. And then we've got 2 games left after that. Dundee United the following Wednesday, then the following Saturday away to Hibs. On to the shout-outs for this week. The most important one to me for this week, they're all important to various people for the various reasons, I understand completely, but the most important one selfishly to me for this week is a pre-birthday well wish or announcement, I should say, for my beautiful baby boy Leo, who is 16 this coming Saturday. So by the time I talk to you again at this time next week, he will hopefully be driving his own car, doing his own thing and all that sort of thing. We've got his driver's test booked for his birthday, so oh my word, hopefully he doesn't. If he doesn't pass it, he doesn't pass it. It doesn't matter, we'll get him through it at some point. But he is going to be 16. You might remember, as if you're a regular listener, ages and ages and ages ago, I did a countdown to Leo's 16th birthday, because I can't even remember why I even started that now. And here it is this week. Time just absolutely flies. I know he never listens, but I'm just going to wish him a very, very happy birthday anyway, and I'm looking forward to seeing you and spending the day with you on Saturday. He's at his mum's this week, that's why I say that. On to the women's team. They had a devastating defeat at home to Glasgow City last week that really probably takes them out of the title race. It depends what happens in the last 4 games, of course, but that was a stink bomb that they experienced last midweek, and it was 1-0 at home, and that really changes the complexion of the league title race. They were 6-0 winners over Motherwell yesterday. 5 goals from Katie Wilkinson, no less. Actually, that's a brilliant performance by her. But what the league table looks like now, Hibs are just not stopping. Hibs are on 70 points. Glasgow City are on 67 points, and then Rangers are on 65 points. So 5 points behind the top of the table with 4 games to play, I think it is. So, and the first of those 4 games is an Old Firm game this coming Sunday, which are always very, very tight games. So it looks like they've kind of played themselves out of contention there. They do play Hibs on the last game of the season. I believe they don't have Glasgow City to play again. Rangers I'm talking about, so I assume that Hibs do. So I don't know, what's the best result there? A draw, maybe a Glasgow City? No, I don't know. Who knows? So there's lots of twists and turns probably to come, but it just feels like they've once again shot themselves in the foot. You might remember that they lost the league last season, I should say, on goal difference. So it looks like, I don't know. I don't want to be negative Nelly here, but the chance was there a few weeks back, and they just haven't managed to see it through. And continuing with the women's team, Laura Berry was voted the SWPL Young Player of the Year, and Laura's actually spent time at Rangers and Motherwell this season. Started off at Rangers, went to Motherwell on loan, signed a new deal with Rangers, came back for the run-in. So congratulations to Laura. I didn't see anywhere else what other awards were made, so I'm not sure if any of the other Rangers women were involved in those, got selected. I assume not, because they weren't part of the same article that I read, but congratulations to Laura for that. Also congratulations to the men's under-18s who lifted the Glasgow Cup last midweek, beating Old Firm rivals That Mob on penalties after, I think it was one each, wasn't it, in the game? They had the highlights on there during half-time of the Old Firm game yesterday, but great for Stevie Smith's boys to win that and get that winning feeling in there. It looked like they were enjoying themselves afterwards. And we also had Casemiro coming back for that particular game as well, so it was good to, obviously too little too late for us in terms of materiality for the season, but good to see that he's back, good to see that he's recovering from his injury, because he was really going great guns for us prior to his injury with the international team. And there was a little bit, I wasn't sure whether to do this in the communications or do it in the shout outs, but the Takeover, or key members of the Takeover consortium, visited Ibrox last week. You'll probably have seen it online somewhere, and they went for a walk around, and there was a scramble to get them all on camera and such. I'm not sure if they stuck around for the Old Firm game on the weekend. I don't know, because it was, what was that, like Wednesday or something? And of course, with the game being on Sunday, that's a long time to wait around just for a game, but hopefully they did, and it was a good advert for them to see what the place can be like when we have something to fight for, which is of course pride on this particular occasion. But it seems like the deal is getting closer. Originally they did talk about May time. This is where we're at right now. It's not quite as simple as just everyone agreeing and then getting around the table. There are so many parties and legalities and such involved, I'm sure, not to mention the shareholders who are relinquishing the shares to give them the majority stakeholder holding that they are looking for. So yeah, getting closer. Hopefully that'll be something by the end of the month, and it'll give us something to look forward to. If I was Rangers, honestly, I would be announcing it on the morning of the Scottish Cup final. That's what I would be doing, and I'm not joking. I really truly would, or maybe the day before even, just to make it all about Rangers, because nobody really cares from our side of the world what's happening in the Scottish Cup final anymore. Another shout out for the Melbourne City Loyal Rangers Supporters Club Culture Weekend. That's November 21st to 22nd, 2025. Ian Ferguson, Gary Stevens and Stuart Monroe are all going to that one. Now, on to the big news for the week, the convention update. It is 38 days and 5 weeks until we go to Kissimmee in Osceola County, Florida, from June the 12th to the 15th, and we're going to have an absolutely brilliant time there. If you listened last week, You'll have heard me talking about the challenges with communication and communication flow between ourselves and the hotel, and it's very, very critical that we do have ongoing communication flow. We managed to have a meeting with the hotel this morning. Come on, Gary, get it right. And it was a great meeting. We put our various points and needs and wants and desires on the table and had a very, very productive conversation. As always, the hotel, in person are absolutely dynamite to deal with and to work with, and we have an absolutely workable solution. So if there was any doubt in anyone's mind about this convention going ahead or not, I can dispel it 100%. And when I said that before, I never used the 100%. And when I said it before, I always had a wee doubt, in lieu of actual communication, that genuine communication, it's very difficult to be able to say with 100% certainty that it's actually going to go ahead or not. But I'm delighted now that the tone of the meeting was absolutely fabulous, and the folks there are just lovely, as I say. So we are all a go, folks. So if you were holding off on purchasing tickets, holding off on booking rooms, holding off on anything to do with the convention with a view to booking it when you get this 100% clarification, this is it. You have it now, 100%. We are having the convention, and I'm also going to double that up with some even better news. I'm going to give you an entertainment announcement. I've been talking about this for quite some time, and we actually had this locked in ages and ages and ages ago, but through the toing and froing and communications and will we, won't we, and is it happening, is it not happening, what size is it going to be, and things like that, we never really wanted to lean in too much to confirming a whole bunch of things just in case we ended up with egg on our face, but thankfully that's not going to be the case. So in terms of entertainment, we have a headliner for the Friday night, the Tam Plunkett Blue Night, and our headliner, I am absolutely delighted to confirm, is none other than Blue Nose stalwart himself and international musician Callum Beattie is going to be our Friday night headliner. It's been a long time coming. As I say, they agreed to come over ages ago, long time ago, and we just kept it in our back pocket to try and make sure that all the I's were dotted and T's were crossed so that we didn't end up just making a bit of a mess of things. But I'm delighted now to be in a position to formally announce him, and there is more to come. So I'm going to use each of the weeks between now and convention time to give you a bit more understanding of what the itinerary is going to look like in terms of ongoing entertainment, and I'm delighted to be in that position to be able to do that. So just a confirmation, just as I haven't talked about this for quite some time, but we do have our MC is David Edgar from the Heart and Hand podcast, who always does an absolutely brilliant job for us, and our legends that are coming over are Mark Cately and John Brown. Been a very long time since we've had John Brown over, I think well over 10 years for sure. And it'll be absolutely fabulous to have John join us as well. And there may be one or two more as we ease into the event. So please tune in each week and get the, what should we say, the battle fever going here. It's never quite the same when we know we're not going to have a trophy to be waved at us as we go forward, but the support that we've had from the club, from Experience Kissimmee, from Omni, and of course from the Orlando Rangers Supporters Club is going to make this an event like something you've never experienced before, and it's going to be brilliant. It's going to be a wee bit smaller, as I mentioned, than we were hoping and anticipating and planning for, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be a brilliant time. So if you're holding off, hopefully Callum gives you a wee bit of incentive. If not Callum, David. If not David, Mark. If not Mark, John. If not either of them, you get to meet me. I'm going to be there every single day, and we can maybe have a beer together and talk about all things Rangers. That's probably going to put you off, isn't it? Anyway, so just a reminder on the ESTAs, if you're on a UK passport, you need an ESTA to get into the United States. Please don't wait until you're at the airport and realise, whoops, I didn't do that, and then you're in a bit of a fankle about that. And I did commit to an open communication dialogue with the NARSA membership in terms of an open letter. I did send an open letter a wee while back. I didn't have anything material to update the NARSA membership on, so I'm going to do that hopefully tonight. I'll get that sent out tonight, if not tonight, tomorrow, something like that, but just to let everyone know that it's a go. If you're looking to sponsor the magazine, if you're looking for any sort of sponsorship opportunity as it relates to the event, please do reach out to either myself or Colin. You can get me at rangersscc@hotmail.com. You can get Colin at thepeople@orlandorsc.com, and we can figure out things from there. So we have a lot of work to do now between now and the 12th of June here. We've got some golf to organise, we've got some football to organise, a lot of things we're kind of just percolating in the background there. So we will have a very busy 5 weeks, and it will fly in, and we'll make sure that this convention, as I say, is one like no other. So really looking forward to getting going formally, properly on that. We do have our general meeting, our annual general meeting. That's going to be on the Saturday afternoon at the convention, and just a reminder once again that there are a few positions open on the NARSA executive, so you have up to and including the AGM to be able to register your interest, have a conversation, see if it's something you would be interested in doing, and come on board and give us an opportunity to think a little bit differently and maybe deliver things a wee bit differently as we go forward. In terms of communications for this last week, not too many actually. The Gers guide was published and I got that. So we've got the Rangers women's team highlights for this week is today on RTV. Tomorrow's the loan review as normal, and then they've got a feature called Academy Monthly, and I can't remember if I've actually said that one before or not, so I don't know if it's a new feature. And not so much happening on Wednesday or Thursday. Friday are the press conferences for the men's team for the preview of the Aberdeen game, and for the women's team the Old Firm game, and there's also a training ground segment on Rangers TV chronicling or featuring the men's team. On Saturday, there's a big interview with Harold Davis, former Ranger Harold Davis, and on Sunday, of course, are the games. Rangers at home to Aberdeen and the Rangers women's team versus that mob, and that's a 4:10 p.m. UK kickoff if you're interested in going to that. Okay, my friends, that will do it for this week. As always, I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for tuning in, as I do each and every week. I really do appreciate it, and please do share it with someone that you think might enjoy it, especially with the great news around the convention. And here's some even better news. This season, this arduous season that we've been in, there's only 12 days left, and there's only 3 games to go, folks, and the games are coming thick and fast. So that is something absolutely to look forward to, and then all roads lead to the convention after that. Until next week, please do take care of yourself and all the very best, okay? Follow.